Listen. Practice. Speak. Practice makes you perfect.
Have you ever been in that moment where you desperately need to say no, but the words just, I don't know, get stuck?
Absolutely. It happens all the time.
It's that familiar professional tightrope walk, right? You want to be a helpful colleague, a valuable team member, but your schedule's already bursting, maybe your mental energy is running on fumes.
Yeah, completely stretched.
And then another request lands. And, deep down, that accepting it would mean sacrificing quality on existing projects, or worse, maybe your own well-being.
Yeah.
But how do you decline gracefully, effectively, without, burning bridges or looking uncooperative?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Exactly. So today, we are diving deep into some really fascinating insights from our source,
Yeah.
Mastering Polite Declination in Business English, to truly understand the art of saying no in a professional setting.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is how this seemingly simple word, no, carries such a heavy weight in professional contexts. We often shy away from it, don't we?
We do.
We perceive it as negative, maybe a sign of weakness, or even like we're not willing to contribute. Yet, our source material for this deep dive illustrates beautifully that mastering these smart phrases for polite declination is actually, well, a profound act of strategic self-awareness and respect for others' time, too. So our mission today isn't just to, list these phrases. It's to dissect their practical uses, delve into the subtle meaning and the powerful intent behind them. Think of it as a shortcut, maybe, to confident communication.
Yeah, a shortcut that empowers you to maintain crucial boundaries while simultaneously preserving, maybe even strengthening, your professional relationship.
Precisely. It's about that balance.
Exactly. This isn't about learning to be difficult. It's about becoming, well, a more effective, more respected professional.
Right.
By the end of this deep dive, you won't just have a collection of phrases. You'll hopefully have a robust toolkit, expressions that sort of click into place, allowing you to confidently navigate even the trickiest requests. You'll gain actionable knowledge quickly, experience those genuine aha moments where suddenly the right words, the right approach just makes sense.
Those light bulb moments.
Yeah. And most importantly, you'll avoid the information overload that often comes with trying to figure this all out on your own. It's about empowering you to take control of your professional narrative and, critically, your valuable time.
Well put. Let's get into it.
So let's start at the very foundation.
Yeah.
Why does saying no politely even matter in the first place? It feels like much more than just refusing a task, doesn't it? More strategic somehow.
Oh, absolutely. It's far more strategic.
I mean, if you say yes to everything, you risk diluting your focus, right? The quality of the work you do commit to suffers. And crucially, you put yourself on a fast track to burnout.
Definitely burnout. It's a huge risk.
And if you're consistently over-promising and under-delivering because you just can't decline, you're not just harming your output, but potentially damaging your most valuable working relationships. That trust erodes.
Precisely. And if we truly connect this to the bigger picture, effective declination isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually a hallmark of true professionalism and incredibly clear communication.
Professionalism, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's about proactively managing expectations, both your own and others, and responsibly allocating finite resources. Whether those resources are your personal hours, your team's collective capacity, or even the budget for a project.
Right. All finite.
Saying no thoughtfully demonstrates that you understand your limitations and, more importantly, that you prioritize delivering high-quality work within those boundaries. This contributes significantly to overall organizational efficiency and, critically, to individual and team well-being.
Well-being, yeah. That's often overlooked.
It is. It champions a culture of sustainable productivity. It's a powerful, maybe counterintuitive insight for many people. Saying no effectively can actually build trust and respect.
How so?
Because it signals that you value quality, accountability, and the long-term health of projects and relationships over just, people-pleasing in the short term.
Okay, building on that crucial point about sustainability, let's get into what is arguably the most common scenario for needing to say no when your resources are just plain maxed out.
Right. The classic too much on my plate situation.
Exactly. We all hit that wall, often repeatedly. So how do you gracefully decline when you simply don't have enough time or bandwidth, but still convey empathy and avoid sounding dismissive? Our source, Mastering Polite Declination in Business English, offers some truly effective phrases for addressing your personal workload.
Let's hear them.
Okay, for instance, a very direct yet empathetic option is, I'm currently unable to take this on. My plate is quite full. Simple.
Clear metaphor.
Or perhaps, my current workload prevents me from accepting additional tasks now. A bit more formal, maybe.
Still very clear.
It also suggests phrases like, I don't have the capacity for this request at the moment, unfortunately. Or, I'm afraid I lack the bandwidth to dedicate proper attention to this now.
Bandwidth, yeah, that's a common one in business speak.
It is. You might even find yourself saying, regrettably, I need to pass on this opportunity due to existing obligations. So what makes these particular phrases so powerful? And how do they land effectively without sounding like you're just, avoiding work?
Well, what's crucial about these particular phrases is their nuance. They don't just convey unavailability, they convey unavailability due to genuine pre-existing commitments.
Right, it's the why.
Exactly. Let's take my plate is quite full. As you said, it's a highly relatable and universally understood metaphor. Everyone, regardless of their profession, understands what it means to have too much on their plate. Its power lies in its ability to quickly and empathetically communicate an overloaded state.
Without needing a detailed list.
Precisely. Without demanding that you itemize every single task you're currently working on, which can often feel defensive or like you're over-justifying yourself, it sets a clear boundary, but gently.
Generally.
Similarly, when you say something like, I'm operating at full capacity and thus cannot take on further responsibilities, you're making a professional judgment call. You're communicating that your attention is already divided among key projects and that adding more would compromise the quality of all your work.
So it's about protecting existing work.
Exactly. This isn't a lack of willingness. It's a demonstration of responsibility towards your existing commitments. It's about avoiding that dreaded, overpromising, and subsequently under-delivering cycle, which ultimately benefits everyone involved. It shows you prioritize quality and timely completion.
Makes sense.
And here's a subtle but potentially powerful tip. If it feels appropriate, you can pair these with a forward-looking statement. Something like, I don't have the capacity for this request at the moment, unfortunately, but please do keep me in mind for future opportunities when my load lightens.
Oh, I like that. It softens the blow.
It does. It transforms a firm no into a not right now, but maybe later, preserving future opportunities and goodwill. It acknowledges the requester's need without committing you to something unsustainable right now.
That's brilliant because it absolutely keeps the door open. You're not just shutting it down entirely, but offering a more sustainable future option. Okay, now, it's not always just about your individual capacity, is it? Sometimes the entire team is stretched thin or maybe focused on a critical deliverable.
Right, the collective capacity issue.
Yeah, how do you say no on behalf of the collective without sounding like you're just deflecting responsibility? Or worse, maybe implying a lack of ambition in your team.
That's a delicate balance.
It is. Our source provides excellent phrases for this too, such as, my engineering team is at full capacity this month, or the design team's current project workload is too heavy.
Very direct about the team load.
You might even hear phrases like, I need to shield my development team from additional unplanned tasks right now. That sounds very protective. Or, our team support resources are currently stretched to their absolute limits.
Shielding the team. That has a strong leadership feel.
It does. It even extends to a more holistic view with, I must consider the team's overall well-being and prevent collective burnout by saying no now. So how do these phrases protect the team, and what kind of leadership does that demonstrate?
Well, these phrases demonstrate a different but equally vital kind of leadership. They're not just about your personal bandwidth anymore. They're about protecting the team's focus and, by extension, the quality and integrity of their collective work.
Right, it's a broader responsibility.
Exactly. Saying no in this context isn't just about resource management. It's actually a strategic imperative for long-term productivity and, importantly, morale.
Morale, yeah. Burnout kills morale.
Absolutely. Consider this scenario. A critical launch, let's call it Project Titan, is just weeks away, and a new large client project comes in unexpectedly. Instead of just saying no, you could say, adding this new client project would overburden the team and risk current deadlines for Project Titan.
Okay, so you're tying it to a specific existing priority.
Precisely. This isn't a complaint. It's a clear, almost data-driven statement about consequences and priorities. You're communicating that your priority is ensuring the team successfully completes its current quarterly commitments, and that adding more now would likely compromise output quality and overall morale.
This sounds very reasonable.
This kind of refusal doesn't reflect a lack of willingness to contribute. It reflects a deep commitment to the overall success of existing critical projects and a realistic recognition of the limits of human capacity. It signals that you value sustainable productivity and are committed to a higher strategic goal, the successful delivery of what's already on the plate.
It protects the core mission.
Yes. It's about ensuring the team remains focused on what truly matters to the business and preventing the kind of burnout that can cripple a team for months. This demonstrates a leader who prioritizes strategic alignment and the health of their people rather than simply chasing every new request that comes along.
So we talked about capacity, both individual and team. That's a big one. But what about when a request simply isn't the right fit? This brings us to another crucial category. Issues of expertise, your role, or maybe broader strategic alignment.
Right, the not my area or doesn't fit the plan scenario.
Exactly. Let's tackle the first one. When a request falls squarely outside your personal expertise or skill set, how do you decline something like that without diminishing your professional image or making it sound like, you're incompetent?
That can feel tricky.
It can. Our source gives us some really helpful, succinct phrases here. For example, this falls outside my current expertise. Simple, direct, honest.
Or, I may not be the best person for this. A little softer, maybe?
Yeah, acknowledges potential fit. You could also opt for, this isn't quite in my area of specialization, or my skills might not be the best match for this particular task. So why is admitting a limitation actually a strength in these situations? How does it contribute to a better outcome?
Well, this is an excellent point, and it touches on a common misconception. Many people mistakenly believe that admitting a limitation is a weakness or a sign of incompetence.
Yeah, I think people worry about that.
They do, but on the contrary, honesty about your limitations often leads to far better outcomes and significantly builds trust within a professional relationship. When you say something like, I'm not the subject matter expert here, so I'd be doing you a disservice, you're not just declining.
You're actually helping them.
Exactly. You're actively prioritizing the quality of the outcome. You're essentially saying, I care enough about this request to ensure it goes to someone who can truly excel at it and deliver the best possible results.
Ah, okay. That reframes it completely.
It's a professional self-assessment. It ensures that the request is directed to the right resource within the organization, ultimately benefiting the project and the entire organization. Much better than you taking on something you're not equipped for and delivering suboptimal support, or worse, making a costly mistake.
Right.
It demonstrates integrity, a commitment to quality, and a clear understanding of your own professional boundaries. It's about leveraging the right expertise for the right task, which is really a sign of a mature and effective professional.
That makes perfect sense. It really is about integrity. And following that thread, sometimes a request isn't just outside your personal expertise, but it's a complete role or departmental mismatch. It's simply meant for someone else entirely, maybe a different team or individual.
Yeah, the classic wrong inbox problem.
Right. How do you gracefully redirect that request to the appropriate person or department? You don't want to just shut them down.
No, you want to be helpful if you can.
Exactly. The source material offers fantastic phrasing for this, such as, I believe someone else might be better equipped to handle this request. Or, this particular responsibility is usually handled by another department.
Nice and neutral.
You might add, my knowledge on this specific subject is somewhat limited, I'm afraid. And it provides specific, actionable examples like, perhaps I can connect you with a colleague who specializes in this financial domain. Or, while I appreciate the offer, this request is better suited for my colleague, John Smith.
Offering the connection is key there.
It is. You can even ask, my role doesn't typically cover this type of task. Who usually handles these IT requests? So how does this approach maintain a collaborative spirit while ensuring the request still finds its proper home?
This is precisely where politeness and helpfulness merge beautifully, transforming a no into a form of active assistance. You're not just declining the request, you're actively offering a solution or providing guidance, which is absolutely key to maintaining that collaborative spirit and fostering efficiency within an organization.
So you're still part of the solution.
Exactly. When you say, for the best outcome, I'd recommend directing this to the marketing department, you're showing that you're engaged with the request and invested in its successful resolution, even if you can't fulfill it personally. You're not simply pushing it off, you're directing it to the person or team best equipped to handle it.
That reflects well on you too.
Absolutely. It reflects positively on your problem-solving abilities and your understanding of the organizational structure. It builds goodwill because the requester sees you as someone who helps them navigate the internal landscape, ensuring their need is met, rather than just putting up a barrier.
Yeah, huge difference between that's not my job and.
Right. Compared to, my role doesn't typically cover this, but I can connect you with the person who usually handles these IT requests.
Yeah.
The latter is incredibly more helpful and relationship building. It embodies the spirit of professional collaboration and ensures the request doesn't just get lost in the shuffle.
Makes sense. Now let's move to a higher level of no one that originates from a strategic perspective. This is when the request, while may be valuable in isolation, doesn't align with broader company or team goals, or perhaps doesn't fit into your pre-established key priorities.
Right. It's not about capacity or expertise, but about strategic direction.
Exactly. Our source gives us strong phrases for this. You might say, this new feature task, while important, doesn't align with my immediate sprint objectives.
Linking it to current defined goals.
Yes. Or, my manager and I have agreed on my key Q3 priorities, and this new task isn't currently among them, referencing agreement with leadership.
That adds weight.
Another powerful one is, to maintain focus and efficiency, I must tackle my tasks in order of agreed company priority. So how does anchoring your refusal in agreed-upon priorities make it less personal and more objective? And why is that so critical for the overall mission?
This type of declination is incredibly powerful precisely because it anchors your refusal in objective, agreed-upon priorities or broader strategic goals. That makes it far less personal and much more difficult to, argue with.
Right, it's not just your opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you say, while I see the value in this idea, it's not aligned with the strategic priorities set for this quarter, you're not saying the idea itself is bad or that you're unwilling. You're explaining that now is not the time for you to take it on, given the larger predefined objectives.
Context is key.
Yes. This reinforces your commitment to shared objectives and helps the requester understand the broader context that informs your decision. Imagine a situation where a colleague suggests a really interesting side project, but it pulls resources away from the company's main growth initiative.
Happens all the time.
Right. By stating, I must respectfully defer this side project as my current task list is based on urgent team objectives, you are protecting the overall mission. This approach ensures that valuable resources remain focused on what the organization has collectively decided is most important, preventing distraction, fragmentation of effort, and ultimately ensuring strategic alignment across the board.
So you're guarding the strategy.
In a way, yes. It's about protecting the overall mission and the integrity of the company's strategic roadmap rather than just your personal workload.
Okay, let's transition to a different category altogether. When there are practical hurdles, sometimes it's not about capacity or fit, but about the very viability of the request itself. Things like feasibility, budget, or even company policy.
The practical realities.
Exactly. First, how do you decline, or maybe more accurately, question a request when you have legitimate concerns about its feasibility or practicality? You're not necessarily saying a hard no yet, but you're prompting a reevaluation of whether it can actually be done effectively and realistically?
This is more about raising a flag than slamming a door.
Right. Our source offers phrases like, is this achievable in the given time frame? Or, I have some concerns about its practicality.
Gentle probes.
You might say, could we explore the potential challenges with this new marketing approach? Or, this seems quite ambitious. Are all necessary resources available for the launch? So these don't sound like refusal, more like inquiries. How do they effectively protect you from committing to something unrealistic while still showing engagement?
You've hit on a crucial point. These phrases are indeed not outright refusals, but strategic inquiries. They are incredibly effective because they show genuine engagement and a sincere desire to help, but that desire is tempered with a critical, realistic eye.
So helpful skepticism.
Kind of, yeah. When you ask, I'm wondering if we've fully considered all the implications of this merger. Or state, I'm not entirely convinced this can be executed as planned with current constraints. You're protecting yourself, your team, and the entire project from committing to something unrealistic or potentially problematic down the line. It's an act of due diligence.
It prevents future headaches.
Absolutely. You're not shutting down the idea. You're inviting collaboration to find a workable, viable solution. This approach forces a deeper look at the request's foundation, ensuring all necessary resources, dependencies, and potential obstacles are factored in before proceeding. It's about ensuring success by asking the right questions up front, rather than blindly agreeing and then facing inevitable challenges or failures later.
That's professional foresight.
It really is. It saves time, resources, and reputation in the long run.
And sometimes the most practical hurdle is simply a financial one. It's a common, often uncomfortable scenario, declining due to budget limitations or resource constraints. How do you address this with clarity and objectivity?
Ah, yes, the budget conversation. Always fun.
Indeed. Our source provides phrases such as, "We lack the budget for this new software now," or "This training isn't currently factored into our budget."
Very factual.
You could also state, "Our current resource allocation doesn't cover this expansion," or, more directly, "I'm afraid we don't have the necessary funds approved for such an initiative."
Attributing a refusal to budget or resource allocation is incredibly effective because it immediately makes it an organizational decision, not a personal one. This helps to completely depersonalize the no.
Takes the personal sting out of it.
Exactly. It provides a clear, objective reason that is much harder to argue with, as it's rooted in verifiable financial realities. When you say, the requested expenditure exceeds what we have currently earmarked for marketing, or unfortunately this would require a budget reallocation that isn't possible now, you're not expressing unwillingness or, personal stinginess.
Right, you're not being cheap.
No. You're stating a fact about the company's financial reality and its approved financial framework. This approach reinforces responsible financial management and ensures that funds are directed to approved priorities and strategically important initiatives.
It's just business.
Pretty much. It shifts the conversation from a personal refusal to a matter of company policy or strategic financial planning, which is far more professional and less likely to invite pushback. It protects you from being seen as uncooperative and instead positions you as a responsible steward of company resources.
Speaking of policy, another powerful category of impartial reasons for declining revolves around existing company policies or regulatory requirements. These are usually non-negotiables, right?
Often, yes.
Yeah.
They provide a very solid, objective basis for saying no, gracefully.
So how do you effectively use them as a basis for declining? Phrases include things like, "This hiring practice goes against company HR policy,"
Clear violation.
or "I'm afraid that expense claim is not compliant with our travel guidelines." We've probably all heard that one.
Probably.
You might also state, "Due to new GDPR regulatory requirements, we cannot proceed with this data request." Or the very serious, "This data sharing would breach our client data security protocols, so I must decline." These feel very firm.
They are firm, and they need to be. These phrases are incredibly powerful because they leverage a higher authority, whether it's established company policy, legal requirements like GDPR, or even critical ethical guidelines.
So you're pointing to the rules.
Essentially, yes. This makes the no non-negotiable and, crucially, removes any personal blame or subjective judgment from you, the individual. When you say, "We must adhere to strict financial compliance standards which prevent this action," or "Our code of conduct has specific anti-bribery clauses that restrict this kind of activity," you're not just declining.
You're upholding standards.
Exactly. You're demonstrating integrity and an unwavering commitment to professional and ethical standards that apply to the entire organization. This approach positions you as a guardian of the company's legal standing and reputation. It shows you prioritize adherence to rules and ethical conduct above individual requests, even if those requests seem harmless on the surface.
That's important, especially with things like data privacy.
Oh, absolutely. In today's world, a phrase like, "Due to new GDPR regulatory requirements, we cannot proceed with this data request," isn't just a refusal, it's a statement of compliance and responsibility. It protects the entire organization from potential legal penalties, reputational damage, and reinforces a culture of accountability.
It's a sign of strong leadership, really.
It is, and a deep understanding of corporate governance.
Okay, sometimes you don't need to say no outright, but you can't really say yes either because you need more information. You need more detail to even make an informed decision.
Right, the "I need more info" pause.
Exactly. This brings us to a crucial category: requesting clarification or additional data. How do you respond when a request is vague, incomplete, or just lacks the necessary context? How do you use it as an opportunity to gain understanding rather than just refusing?
It's about turning the lack of info into a next step.
Yes. Our source provides excellent phrases like, "I need more details on the client first," or "Could you clarify some technical points for me?"
Simple requests for specifics.
Another versatile one is, "I'll need a bit more context on the project before I can commit." And the source provides great examples like, to assess this properly, I'd require more comprehensive information on the target audience. Or asking directly, what are the key deliverables and the timeline you have in mind for this report? So how do these phrases function as strategic deferrals? What positive impact do they have?
Well, these are absolutely not outright no's, as you said. They're strategic deferrals steeped in professionalism. They communicate a commitment to accuracy and thoroughness. You're essentially saying, I want to help, but to do so effectively and responsibly, I need to understand exactly what I'm committing to.
So you're avoiding mistakes down the line.
Precisely. This approach ensures that if you do eventually commit, it's to something fully understood, achievable, and aligned with expectations. That significantly minimizes miscommunications, rework, and potential failures later on.
It also puts the onus back on the requester a bit.
It does, subtly. It shifts the burden of clarity back to the requester. It encourages them to provide complete and well-thought-out requests in the future, which fosters a culture of clearer communication overall.
That's a good side effect.
Definitely. Phrases like, perhaps we could schedule a brief meeting to discuss the technical requirements in detail, or it would be helpful to know the priority of this task relative to other current tasks, are proactive and collaborative. They ensure both parties are on the same page, demonstrating your dedication to thoughtful decision-making rather than just rushed compliance. It's about building a foundation of understanding before taking action.
Makes sense. On a similar note, what about situations where a decision is simply impossible or, frankly, irresponsible without concrete data or compelling evidence? You can't just make a call on a whim, especially if it has significant implications.
Right, the show me the data moment.
Exactly. The phrases for this include things like, I lack the sales data for this Q3 forecast, or we don't have enough user information to proceed with the design.
Pointing to specific missing pieces.
Yeah. You might hear, more comprehensive market data is needed before a new product decision can be made. Or, I cannot act on this investment without further financial details or supporting evidence. So why is stating the need for data so crucial here? What does it communicate about your professional rigor?
This point is absolutely critical. Making significant decisions without adequate data or supporting evidence isn't just suboptimal, it's often irresponsible. It can lead to major errors, wasted resources, or serious strategic missteps.
High stakes.
Very high stakes. These phrases clearly and unequivocally state the need for information, effectively pausing the request until it can be properly supported and rigorously evaluated. For instance, imagine launching a new product based purely on a hunch.
Risky.
Extremely. By stating, any decision made without sufficient competitor data would be purely speculative at this stage, you are protecting yourself and the entire project from ill-informed choices. You're reinforcing the importance of a data-driven culture, which should be a cornerstone of sound business practice.
It shows your decisions are fact-based.
Exactly. It communicates that your decisions are based on facts, not assumptions. This isn't saying no to the idea itself, but no to proceeding without the necessary insights. It's about ensuring sound judgment and responsible, informed progress, safeguarding the company from unnecessary risks. It elevates your professional standing as someone who demands a solid foundation for action.
Now let's talk about a really proactive and strategic form of polite declination.
Yeah.
Managing expectations right from the outset. Essentially, avoiding a hard no later by setting realistic boundaries early on.
Ah, the preemptive strike, politely done.
Exactly. How do you communicate potential hurdles or challenges without sounding negative or, defeatist right from the start?
It's a fine line.
It is. Our source provides excellent phrases for this, like, this development might take longer than expected, or the final product outcome may differ from the initial plan.
Setting realistic parameters.
You could also say, please be aware there are some technical limitations to what we can achieve, or I want to be transparent about potential budget challenges from the outset. So how does this preemptive communication function as a soft no to maybe unrealistic hopes? What are the long-term benefits for relationships?
Well, this preemptive communication is indeed a sophisticated form of a soft no, a no to perhaps unrealistic hopes or unstated assumptions. It lays a foundational layer of honesty and transparency right away, which is absolutely vital for building and maintaining trust within any professional relationship.
Trust through transparency.
Exactly. When you say something like, well, I'll do my best, I cannot guarantee a Q1 launch due to supply chain factors, you're not shirking responsibility. You're being transparent about potential external hurdles that might be beyond your direct control.
It manages expectations.
Precisely. This approach prevents future conflicts, disappointments, and maybe even resentment by clarifying what is realistically achievable within the given constraints. It operates on the principle of under-promising and potentially over-delivering.
Which is always better than the reverse.
Always. It manages stakeholder expectations proactively, builds incredible credibility, and fosters a collaborative environment where challenges are understood and managed together, rather than emerging as nasty surprises later down the line. It's about building a reputation for reliability and realistic planning.
That makes so much sense. It's about setting yourself and the project up for success. Now, what about when a deadline feels completely unrealistic, maybe even like a setup for failure?
Ah, the impossible deadline. We've all been there.
Right. How do you push back on aggressive timelines without being uncooperative or, worse, seeming like you're not a team player? The phrases here are all about challenging and negotiating deadlines.
It's about opening a dialogue, not just refusing.
Exactly. For instance, that product deadline seems very tight. A simple observation. Or, is there any flexibility on that October 15th due date? Direct question. You might voice your concern more directly. I'm concerned about meeting such an aggressive launch timeline or state. Realistically, that 1-week time frame might not be achievable for quality software work. So these don't sound like outright rejections of the task itself, but rather of the conditions. How does this open a negotiation that values quality and realistic planning?
You've precisely captured the essence of this strategy. These phrases don't say no to the task itself, but they very clearly say no, or at least, hang on a minute, to the conditions under which it's proposed. You're not refusing to do the work. You're signaling that your commitment to quality, thoroughness, and successful delivery is paramount, and that the current timeline potentially jeopardizes that.
It makes quality the focus.
Yes, and it opens a critical negotiation. When you say something like, to deliver by next Monday, we might need to reduce the report scope or add temporary resources, you're not just complaining, you're offering concrete solutions or highlighting necessary trade-offs.
Problem solving, not just problem stating.
Exactly. This approach forces a pragmatic discussion about priorities and resources. It emphasizes that you're invested in the successful completion of the work, but only under conditions that allow for a high standard. It's about being a problem solver, not just a barrier. Phrases like, what are the main business drivers for this specific deadline? Is there any room to adjust it? Directly address the core issue and invite a productive, solutions-oriented discussion that benefits the project's ultimate success and prevents rushed, potentially shoddy work.
And then there's the ever-present, often insidious challenge of scope creep.
Oh yes, the silent project killer.
When new requests subtly, or maybe not so subtly, expand the original project scope without corresponding adjustments to resources or timelines, how do you address this professionally and politely, but firmly?
You have to address it, otherwise projects spiral.
Right. Our source gives us phrases like, this new feature seems beyond the original project scope. Or asking, is this analytics module a new requirement for the project?
Gently calling it out.
Yeah. You could also say, this additional data request appears to expand the project's initial agreed boundaries, or I'm concerned this new interface change might impact our development timeline and existing budget. So why is addressing scope creep so crucial for project success? And how do these phrases help maintain project integrity?
Addressing scope creep professionally is absolutely crucial for project success and for maintaining the integrity of your resources and deadlines. These phrases politely yet firmly bring attention to deviations from the original plan. Think of it like this. Every project has a defined boundary, right? A sort of fence around it.
Okay, yeah.
Scope creep is when new elements start appearing outside that fence, but everyone pretends they're still inside. Without addressing it, projects inevitably run over budget, miss deadlines, or deliver substandard quality because resources are just stretched too thin.
The fence keeps breaking.
Exactly. When you say, to accommodate this extra module, we may need to formally adjust the project scope and overall plan, you're not just complaining about more work, you're calling for a structured discussion and formal adjustments. You're saying, okay, this is a new item, let's treat it as such.
It forces a reevaluation.
Yes. This ensures project integrity, prevents resource drain, and protects the team from being stretched beyond their limits. It reinforces disciplined project management and ensures that the original objectives aren't jeopardized by new, unbudgeted additions. It's about sticking to what was agreed upon or formally re-agreeing to a new plan, which is really a sign of a highly organized and effective project leader.
Okay, let's explore some more strategic approaches to declination that go beyond a simple outright no. Sometimes you can actually turn a full no into a partial yes, or maybe a truly helpful redirection.
The constructive no.
Yeah, exactly. This is all about offering alternatives or maybe a partial commitment. For example, instead of a flat refusal, you might suggest, how about trying a cloud-based solution instead? Or, while I can't attend the full day, I could possibly join the morning session.
Offering a compromise.
Or perhaps, would an adjusted timeline or reduced project scope make this more feasible for me? Turning it back to them with options.
This strategy is incredibly powerful because it maintains goodwill and absolutely demonstrates a proactive, problem-solving attitude rather than just a defensive one. You're not just declining the original request, you're actively seeking a viable path forward.
You're still trying to help.
Exactly, offering value in a different way or even empowering others who might be better suited. For example, if you're unable to personally lead a new initiative, you could say, I'm unable to lead this new initiative, but I'd be happy to support in a smaller capacity, perhaps by contributing to the initial strategy document.
So you contribute what you can.
Precisely. Or, if the task is completely outside your wheelhouse, phrases like, though I'm unavailable, I know Kenji Tanaka in IT has expertise in this software area. Or, have you considered exploring Trello or Asana for this project management task? Show that you're still committed to the overall objective, just not in the exact way initially proposed.
That builds a reputation for being resourceful.
It really does. Helpful, resourceful, and collaborative, even when unable to directly fulfill a request. It's about finding creative solutions together and demonstrating your broader commitment to the team's success. It's a subtle shift from saying no to saying yes and or no but.
I like that framing. Okay, another strategic move is delaying the decision or action, essentially buying yourself some much-needed time to think, assess, or simply to clear your plate a bit.
The tactical pause.
Yeah. How do you politely push back on immediate demands when you genuinely need more time to assess or simply to breathe? Phrases like, can this system update wait a bit? Or, could we revisit this proposal next week? Seem quite common.
They are, and they're effective.
You might also say, I'm tied up now, perhaps later this afternoon. Or, my schedule might free up soon. Could we discuss this new project then? So how does deferral function as a form of soft no that buys crucial time? What are the benefits?
Deferral is indeed a powerful and often underutilized form of soft no that buys you invaluable time. It's not about avoiding the task indefinitely, let's be clear.
Right, not procrastination.
No, it's about acknowledging the request while politely asserting your need to manage your current commitments effectively. When you say, I'd prefer to address this data analysis once my current urgent tasks are completed, or is there a possibility of postponing this feature implementation until the next quarter? You're prioritizing your existing workload.
You're sequencing things logically.
Yes, and ensuring that when you do get to the request, you can give it the full attention and quality it deserves. The benefit here is twofold. Firstly, it prevents that rushed, suboptimal work that often results from immediate, unplanned demands.
Avoids mistakes.
Right. And secondly, it communicates to the requester that you take your commitments seriously and won't simply drop everything for a new request. This approach keeps the door open for future engagement, but on your terms, leading to better quality outcomes and significantly less personal stress for you. It's about managing your availability responsibly and demonstrating a methodical approach.
That makes sense. And sometimes the decision isn't yours alone to make, or it requires significant thought, maybe research or input from others.
Right. You need to consult or just mull it over.
Exactly. How do you communicate that you need time to consider or consult with others before giving a definitive answer without sounding indecisive or uncommitted?
It's about signaling deliberation, not avoidance.
Yes. Phrases such as, let me think about that proposal, or I need some time to consider this budget request. Simple enough. You could also say, can I get back to you on that partnership shortly? Or, I'd like to review this technical document further before giving an answer. The source even suggests being specific about timing. I'll need to check a few internal things first. I'll update you by 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Why do these phrases demonstrate thoughtfulness and due diligence? And why is providing that clear timeline so important?
Well, these phrases are incredibly effective because they immediately demonstrate thoughtfulness, diligence, and respect for the request's complexity or importance. It shows the requester that you don't take decisions lightly and that you value a thorough process over a rushed one.
It validates their request in a way.
It does. When you say, allow me to consult with my engineering team colleagues before I respond to this, or this requires careful strategic thought, could I provide my input by end of day Friday? Huh. You're not only setting a clear expectation about your process, but also validating the importance of their request by giving it proper attention.
And the timeline part.
Providing a clear timeline for your response is absolutely key. It manages the requester's expectations, preventing them from feeling ignored or just strung along. It says, I've heard you, I'm taking it seriously, and you'll hear from me by X time.
Builds trust.
Immense trust. This level of transparency signals that you are methodical, responsible, and that your eventual answer, whether it's a yes or a no, will be well considered and based on a comprehensive understanding of the situation. It adds a certain gravitas to your response when it comes.
All right, we've explored a wide spectrum of polite declinations, from capacity issues to strategic alignment, and even buying yourself time. Now let's talk about the art of the final no, the direct yet still polite and crucially conclusive declination.
Okay, the firm but graceful exit.
Exactly. First, how do you set non-negotiable boundaries, often based on personal work boundaries or perhaps established rules? These are the firmer no's delivered with polite resolve.
This is where clarity is paramount.
Yes. You might say, that's not something I can do by Friday, very direct about the timing, or I need to maintain focus on my core financial tasks, defining your priority. Another one is, I'm afraid that marketing request falls outside my job responsibilities. Clearly stating scope. So how do these phrases establish clear, non-negotiable personal or professional boundaries? What's the long-term benefit?
These phrases are specifically designed to establish clear, non-negotiable personal or professional boundaries, and they are delivered with polite yet unwavering firmness. When you say, to manage my workload effectively, I have to say no to this extra report, or my policy is not to take on unscheduled development work without prior discussion, you are unequivocally conveying a commitment.
A commitment to your own process.
Yes, to your principles, your productivity, and critically, the quality of your work. The long-term benefit here is profound. By clearly communicating your working style and limitations, you help to prevent similar requests from just landing on you inappropriately in the future.
You're training people how to interact with you.
In a sense, yes. It's about self-preservation and ensuring you can effectively deliver on what you do commit to. Think of it as drawing a line in the sand, but doing it politely. It shows that you value your time and expertise and that you're disciplined in how you apply them. This level of clarity helps others understand how best to work with you and respects your professional capacity, ultimately making you a more reliable and respected colleague.
It's powerful self-stewardship.
Well said.
Okay, next, how about gracefully declining invitations? Whether they're for social events, networking opportunities, or even internal meetings that just don't fit your schedule or priorities. You want to be clear about your unavailability, but also gracious, right? You don't want to alienate anyone.
Right, maintaining the relationship is key.
Simple phrases like, sorry, I can't make it to the dinner, or I won't be able to attend the conference call, are a start. But our source suggests more polished options like, thank you for the team lunch invitation, but I'm unavailable, or I have a prior client commitment at that time, unfortunately. What's the key here? Expressing gratitude while being clear. And how do you maintain goodwill?
The key is absolutely to always express genuine gratitude for the invitation first. That acknowledges their thoughtfulness. Then follow it immediately with a clear, concise, and ideally brief reason for your unavailability. You really don't need to over-explain or invent elaborate excuses.
Keep it simple.
Exactly. A simple prior commitment or schedule conflict is usually sufficient and professional. Phrases like, regrettably, I will have to miss this strategy session due to a schedule conflict, or I wish I could join the workshop, but I have another engagement I cannot reschedule, are highly effective. They are polite, respectful, and definitive.
And maintaining goodwill.
To maintain goodwill for future opportunities, consider adding a phrase like, keep me in mind for the next one. Or maybe the classic, I'll have to take a rain check this time.
Oh yeah, rain check is good.
It is. It subtly demonstrates your continued interest and reinforces that your refusal is about your circumstances right now, not about the person or the event itself. It communicates, I value your invitation and the connection, even if I can't make it this specific time. This ensures the relationship remains positive and that you're considered for future events, effectively maintaining that crucial professional network without creating a false obligation.
That's smart. Okay, and finally, there are those moments when a clear decision has been made internally, maybe after consideration, and you need to deliver a direct, yet polite, and entirely conclusive no. This is when you've maybe exhausted other options, or the situation just calls for a firm but respectful declination.
The final, unambiguous no.
Exactly. How do you do that effectively? Phrases such as, I must decline taking on this project this time, are very clear. Or, I'm sorry, but that particular request won't be possible for me to handle.
Polite but definite.
You could also say, unfortunately, I'm not in a position to help with that specific software issue. Or, after careful consideration of my schedule, I have determined I cannot take this new task on. This implies you've thought about it. So what makes these final no's effective in providing closure? How do they allow all parties to move forward without lingering ambiguity?
Well, these are indeed the definitive no's, often used after internal reflection, thorough consideration, or when a clear, non-negotiable decision has simply been reached. Their effectiveness lies in their combination of politeness and conclusiveness. They are polite and respectful, acknowledging the requester's need and maybe the value of their ask.
So you're not dismissing them.
No, not at all. But you're firmly and unambiguously stating your inability to fulfill it. There's no room for misinterpretation, no dangling threads, no maybes. When you say, thank you for the leadership opportunity, but I must respectfully turn it down in this moment, or it's with genuine regret that I inform you I cannot accept this additional team responsibility, you are providing immediate and clear closure.
And that clarity is helpful.
That clarity is actually a gift to the requester, even if it's disappointing. It allows them to understand your stance immediately and quickly pivot to find an alternative solution without lingering ambiguity or false hope. It reinforces your professional stance, your clarity in communication, and your ability to make tough decisions with grace. This enables all parties to move forward decisively, maintaining respect and professionalism even when the answer isn't what was hoped for.
So what does all this mean for you listening right now? We've covered an incredibly diverse toolkit of polite declination phrases, haven't we? Exploring everything from expressing a lack of personal capacity to leveraging strategic misalignment, navigating practical hurdles, and even the art of just buying yourself more time.
It's been quite a journey through the world of no.
It has. And the core takeaway from this deep dive seems profoundly clear. Saying no isn't about being unhelpful or uncooperative or negative. On the contrary, it seems it's a truly powerful act of effectiveness, strategic self-management, and ultimately it makes you a more valuable and respected professional.
I absolutely agree.
It means you now have the words, and maybe more importantly, the strategic understanding, to confidently protect your time, your priorities, and your professional well-being.
And this raises an important question that goes beyond just the words themselves, doesn't it? Mastering these phrases really empowers you to maintain those crucial professional relationships, manage your workload effectively, and fundamentally be more productive and less overwhelmed.
Less overwhelmed sounds good.
Doesn't it? It transforms a perceived negative into a positive, proactive act of responsible self-management and even team stewardship, as we discussed. It's about setting yourself up for sustainable success, avoiding the traps of burnout, and ultimately gaining a deeper respect for your boundaries and capabilities. The true aha moment, I think, is realizing that no isn't just a barrier.
It's a building block.
Exactly, a building block for stronger professional foundations.
Absolutely. So as you go back into your professional life, hopefully armed with this deeper understanding, I want to leave you with a thought to mull over. What's one request, just one, that you've been hesitant to say no to? Maybe it's been nagging at you for weeks or even months. And now thinking about everything we've unpacked today, what specific phrase or strategic approach from this deep dive could help you confidently and gracefully respond to that request the very next time it crosses your path?
That's a great reflective question.
Consider applying these techniques. You might be genuinely surprised at the profound positive impact they have, not just on your workload, but actually on the strength and clarity of your professional relationships.
Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever found yourself in that all too familiar spot, nodding yes to a request, even when every fiber of your being screamed no?
Oh, absolutely.
You know the feeling, right? Your calendar is just like a colorful nightmare. Your inbox is an archaeological dig. And suddenly, another task, another meeting, another quick favor just lands on your desk.
Yep, and internal tug of war. It's universal, isn't it?
It really is. You want to be a team player, you want to be helpful, but you also desperately need to protect your precious time and energy. It's such a modern workplace dilemma.
It absolutely is. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that saying no.
Right.
Well, it isn't really about being negative or, unhelpful.
Right.
It's actually one of the most powerful tools you have for effective self-management. and for strategic alignment.
Okay. So it's more than just refusing.
Much more.
Yeah.
This isn't just about refusal. It's about navigating professional relationships, managing expectations, and crucially, safeguarding your productivity without, burning bridges. So our mission today in this deep dive is basically to equip you with a toolkit of smart phrases and, maybe even more importantly, the strategic understanding behind them.
So you can decline gracefully.
Yeah.
Professionally.
Exactly.
Right. And we've sifted through a mountain of insights, haven't we, to bring you this focused collection of phrases. Phrases designed to give you that shortcut to being well-informed and, confidently articulating your boundaries.
Yeah, the confidence part is key.
Definitely. We'll explore different categories of no, from when your capacity is just totally maxed out to when a request just isn't the right fit, or even when company policy dictates the answer.
Right.
Think of it as your verbal shield and strategic compass all rolled into one.
And this raises a really important question, I think. How can we be assertive about our limits without being perceived as, uncooperative, or dare I say, lazy?
Yeah, that's the fear, isn't it?
It is. So we'll connect the dots between the specific phrases and the deeper reasons, making sure you understand not just what to say, but why it matters strategically.
The why. Okay.
This deep dive, it should really illuminate the nuances, allowing you to choose the perfect phrase for the perfect moment, whether you're dealing with your boss, a colleague, or, an external stakeholder.
And always preserving that professional integrity.
That's the goal.
Okay, great. So let's start with what's probably the most common scenario. Your plate is full. We've all been there, right? Feeling like just one additional crumb will send the whole snack tumbling down.
The breaking point.
Exactly. But how do you communicate that you're at capacity in a way that's professional, understandable, and not just a complaint about being busy?
Right. It's about articulating your workload limitations clearly, without sounding, overly apologetic or like you're just making excuses.
It's about transparency, setting realistic expectations.
Indeed. The goal isn't to diminish your willingness to contribute. Not at all. It's about managing expectations about your current availability.
Okay.
These phrases, they help ensure your existing commitments are understood as genuine, objective barriers, not just a lack of desire to help.
Right. It's about valuing your current work, isn't it? And setting yourself up to deliver quality rather than, over-promising and under-delivering.
Precisely. You want to maintain quality.
So, kicking us off, a classic one. Almost universally understood. I'm currently unable to take this on. My plate is quite full.
Yeah, that's a great one. It's incredibly direct, yet it feels polite, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And its power, I think, lies in that simple idiom, my plate is quite full. It immediately conjures up this really relatable image of overwhelm.
Yeah, everyone gets that.
Right? It shifts the focus from a personal refusal, I don't want to an objective, temporary reality. I can't because of this situation.
And it means you don't have to list out every single task you're juggling?
Exactly. It allows you to set a boundary without needing to disclose intricate details of your workload. Protects your privacy, looks professional.
Yeah, I like that. It's like a tactical deflector shield. It's perfect for those last-minute ad hoc requests that just land when you're already totally swamped.
Absolutely. And you're not saying never, just not right now, and in a way that resonates with anyone who's ever felt buried under work.
Okay. What's another option? Maybe something a bit more formal?
Sure. A strong option, especially for, say, written communication, is my current workload prevents me from accepting additional tasks now.
Okay. Prevents me. That sounds quite definitive.
It is. What I like about this one is how objective it feels. It emphasizes that your current workload is the unyielding preventing factor.
Right. It takes the personal feeling out of it.
It does. It removes personal sentiment and focuses purely on the factual reality of your existing responsibilities. Makes it ideal for formal emails or discussions where you need to be crystal clear about capacity.
Okay. And what if you want to soften it a little? Maybe leave the door slightly ajar for later.
Good point. You could say something like, I don't have the capacity for this request at the moment, unfortunately.
Capacity. That sounds professional.
It does. Using capacity is very professional. It indicates a limit on resources, whether that's time, energy, or even, mental bandwidth.
Yeah.
And adding, at the moment, unfortunately, that adds the subtle opening. It softens the blow.
So it's a gentle decline now, but maybe signals a potential future yes if things, clean up a bit.
Exactly. You're being honest about your current state without completely shutting the door.
Okay. And what about longer-term unavailability? If you know you're booked solid for weeks or months.
Right. If you're looking at a longer period or something you truly cannot fit in for, well, the foreseeable future, you could try. Unfortunately, my schedule is fully committed for the foreseeable future.
Fully committed. That sounds pretty serious.
It implies more than just being busy for a day, doesn't it? It suggests long-term plans, solid obligations. And adding foreseeable future really drives home that this isn't just a short-term hurdle. It communicates a strong pre-existing commitment that you can't easily shift.
So that's perfect for declining maybe ongoing roles or projects that stretch over several months.
Precisely. Then there's one that really speaks to the quality of work.
Okay.
I'm afraid I lack the bandwidth to dedicate proper attention to this now.
Bandwidth. That's a common one now, isn't it? What does it really imply here?
Well, bandwidth here isn't just about time. It implies your mental, maybe even emotional availability too. But the crucial part, I think, is dedicate proper attention.
Ah, right. So it's about quality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not saying you can't do it at all. Maybe you could rush it, but you're saying you can't do it to the quality standard it deserves or that you require.
That shows you value quality, that you don't want to just deliver something subpar.
Right. It addresses that professional's dilemma.
Yeah.
Do it poorly or not at all. This phrase squarely lands on the side of not at all because I respect the work too much to just phone it in. It really puts the emphasis on quality and commitment.
I like that. It frames the no positively, in a way. And maybe one more for this section.
Okay, one more, and this one gives a very specific and impactful reason. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I must respectfully decline to preserve my current project timelines.
Okay, starts with appreciation. Always good.
Always good form, yes. Then it moves to a respectful decline, but with a very clear, very impactful reason to preserve my current project timelines.
Ah, connecting it directly to existing deadlines.
Yes. This clearly states the negative consequence of you accepting their request, namely, missed deadlines on existing, likely critical projects.
So this is ideal when the request genuinely would impact your ability to meet current deadlines.
Absolutely. It's polite, it's firm, and it provides a clear, logical reason for your refusal. It helps the requester understand the broader implications.
And they see you're being responsible about your existing commitments.
Exactly. A responsible professional.
Great start. Okay, so that covers the my plate is full scenario. What about when it's not about being busy, but about the request itself? When it's just not, well, not your thing.
Right. Now, connecting this to the bigger picture, knowing when something isn't really in your wheelhouse, so to speak,
Yeah.
is just as important as knowing what is. It's not about admitting inadequacy, not at all.
Okay.
It's about ensuring efficiency and quality by directing requests to the right expert, the right person.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best no is simply recognizing when a task isn't the right fit for your specific skills, your experience, or even just your role in the organization.
It's about ensuring the best possible outcome for the task, not just for you.
Precisely. That's the focus.
Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely seen, well-meaning people say yes to something they're not really equipped for.
Okay.
And the result is always, well, it's usually a messy project and a lot of wasted time for everyone involved.
It's actually a sign of maturity, I think, and good judgment to be able to say, you know what, I'm probably not the best person for this.
Rather than taking it on, struggling, and potentially delivering poor results.
Exactly. It conserves your resources, protects your reputation for quality, and makes sure the work actually gets done correctly by someone who knows how.
Okay, so let's dive into some specific phrases for when it's not your domain, starting with maybe a direct but helpful one.
Okay, how about this? This falls outside my current expertise.
Short, simple.
Very. It's a clear, concise, and pretty objective reason for declining. It states that the task is simply beyond your specific knowledge or skill set.
Without needing a long apology or explanation.
Right. It's professional and straight to the point. And it implicitly suggests that someone else would probably be a better fit without you necessarily having to name names right away.
Yeah, wonderfully efficient. For those quick, direct refusals where it's obvious it's not your area, gets the job done without fuss.
Okay, a slightly softer alternative, which also feels very collaborative, is I may not be the best person for this.
Ah, may not be the best. I like that.
Yeah, by saying I may not be the best person, you're subtly implying that someone else is actually better suited. It feels less about your inability and more about optimizing for the best possible outcome for the task itself.
Right. And it sets you up perfectly to follow up with a helpful redirection, doesn't it?
Exactly. You could follow with, perhaps Sarah Miller from marketing could assist with this. We're not just saying no, you're facilitating a more effective outcome.
Which leaves a positive impression, even though you declined.
Right. Now, another one that's a bit more formal and focuses more on, say, organizational structure.
Yeah.
This particular responsibility is usually handled by another department.
Okay, so that shifts it away from you personally.
Immediately. It removes any personal responsibility from the decline. It's presented as a systemic reason, this is how we're set up, not a personal choice, and it helps the requester understand the proper channels for their request.
Without you having to take on the burden of finding the right person or process for them.
Exactly. So it's not, I don't want to, this is simply not how our organization functions. Very clear, very efficient for requests that clearly cross departmental lines.
Okay. And sometimes it's not a whole department, but maybe just a really specific skill you don't have.
Right, maybe it's the niche skill set. In that case, you can say something like, my knowledge on this specific subject is somewhat limited, I'm afraid.
Somewhat limited. That feels honest, humble almost.
It does. It's an honest and humble approach. The somewhat limited part indicates you might have a basic understanding, perhaps. But crucially, not enough to confidently take the lead or deliver a high-quality outcome.
So you're preventing yourself from doing them a disservice, really.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. It manages expectations effectively. You're not feigning complete ignorance, but you're acknowledging that while you might know a little, you don't know enough to be the primary resource if they want a quality result.
Got it. What about a stronger version of that, really emphasizing quality?
Okay, for a strong statement that highlights your commitment to quality, even when declining. I wouldn't want to provide suboptimal support, as this is outside my core competencies.
Ooh, suboptimal support and core competencies.
Yeah.
Very professional terms.
They are. They emphasize quality and skill alignment. You're essentially saying, look, I could try, but it wouldn't be good because it's not what I do best. And frankly, I refuse to deliver anything less than excellent work in my name.
Wow. That really shows a strong commitment to quality, doesn't it? Even if it means declining the task.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
That phrase speaks volumes about your professional standards. It turns a no into a statement about your commitment to excellence.
Which is certainly a powerful way to frame it. Okay, so we've covered capacity and expertise. What's next? What other big categories lead to a no?
Well, sometimes it's not about you or your skills directly, but about the practicalities, the real-world constraints.
Ah, right. The stuff that just makes things impossible, even if you want to help.
Exactly. So what does this all mean? It means even the best ideas or the most well-intentioned requests can sometimes just hit a wall.
Yeah.
When faced with the cold, hard realities of resources, whether that's money, people, or just plain logistics, sometimes, despite your desire to help, a request is simply unfeasible.
Because of budget constraints? Maybe limited team capacity?
Right, or just practical impossibilities. And these aren't personal shortcomings. They're objective realities that just need to be communicated clearly and professionally.
Okay. So recognizing and communicating these limitations, that's a crucial part of responsible management and project planning.
Absolutely. It helps prevent overcommitment, it helps prevent burnout, and ultimately it prevents project failures down the line.
Right.
These phrases allow you to be transparent about the constraints, but without sounding negative or uncooperative. It's about being pragmatic and prioritizing what is actually achievable.
Okay, let's start with phrases for just questioning the feasibility or practicality.
Yeah.
These often act as a kind of implicit no, right? By inviting a reality check.
Exactly. They open the door for discussion rather than shutting it immediately. First up, a simple but effective question. Is this achievable in the given time frame?
Straightforward. Flags the time issue.
Right. It's an open question, immediately flags potential issues with the timeline, but without outright refusing. It cleverly shifts the burden of proof back to the requester.
Asking them to consider the practicalities more deeply.
Yeah. You're not saying no. You're saying, help me understand how this could be a yes.
So you'd use this when you suspect the timeline is just, well, unrealistic. Gives them a chance to reconsider or maybe explain how they see it working.
Precisely. Or if you have broader concerns, not just about time, maybe logistics or something else, I have some concerns about its practicality.
Practicality, that's quite broad.
It is, and that's its strength sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a broad term that invites discussion without you having to pinpoint every single issue right away. It suggests there might be various logistical hurdles or real-world challenges that maybe haven't been fully considered yet.
Yeah, I like that. It's vague enough to open a dialogue without you having to list every single potential pitfall immediately. It just says, let's talk this through.
Okay, moving to something a bit more specific, maybe focusing on resources. This seems quite ambitious. Are all necessary resources available for the launch?
Ambitious. That's a polite word for maybe unrealistic.
It can be, yes.
Okay.
It's a polite way to suggest something might be overly optimistic or perhaps under-resourced. And following it with a direct question about necessary resources
Yeah.
immediately zeroes in on a key potential barrier, whether that's money, people, equipment, whatever it might be.
This is great when you're unsure about the match between the scope of the project and the actual resources available. It invites that reality check without being confrontational.
Exactly. And if you're looking at a really large-scale strategic decision, something with many unknowns, you might say, I'm wondering if we've fully considered all the implications of this merger, for example.
Okay, that signals a need for caution, deeper thought.
Right. It indicates a need for deeper strategic analysis before proceeding with a major decision like that. It subtly implies that there might be unforeseen consequences or complexities, financial, operational, cultural, personal, that haven't been adequately addressed yet.
It's like saying, whoa, let's pump the brakes just for a second here because this could have ripple effects we haven't even dreamed of yet. A smart move for those really big decisions.
Definitely. And one more in this category, a phrase that acts as a strong no, but cleverly suggests a path forward if the parameters can shift. To deliver by next Monday, we might need to reduce the report scope or add temporary resources.
Ah, the trade-off phrase.
Exactly. This clearly states the trade-offs required to meet an aggressive deadline like that. It implies the current request, as it stands, is unfeasible, but it offers concrete ways to make it work.
So it shifts the burden back to the requester, doesn't it? Like, what's more important to you, the deadline or the full scope?
Precisely. That's powerful because it shows you're not just saying no, you're actively problem solving. It's kind of a conditional yes disguised as a strong no. And it puts the ball right back in their court to prioritize.
Very useful. Okay, let's tackle the big one. Budgetary constraints. It's often the elephant in the room, right?
It really can be.
How do you say no because of money without sounding like you're just being, well, cheap or uncooperative?
Yeah, that's tricky. But budget is often a very objective, sometimes non-negotiable constraint. So these phrases work by depersonalizing the refusal.
Okay.
They point to financial realities or established financial processes. It makes it clear that it's a systemic limitation, not your personal choice. It's about responsible financial stewardship, really.
Got it. So starting with a very direct one.
How about, we lack the budget for this new software now, for instance?
Direct, clear.
Very. It states a current financial impossibility. The now component is key, though. It hints that maybe it could be possible later, but right now the funds simply aren't available. Concise, to the point.
Simple, no fuss. Gets the message across immediately.
Or, if you want to explain why it's not possible budget-wise, this training isn't currently factored into our budget.
Factored into. Okay, so that implies planning.
Exactly. It means it wasn't planned for financially. This implies that the current budget doesn't have a specific allocation for this expenditure. It makes it a matter of foresight and planning, not just a general lack of funds right now.
Right. So it's less about being stingy and more about, look, this just wasn't on our financial roadmap for this period. That's a good distinction.
And for situations involving formal processes, you might say, I'm afraid we don't have the necessary funds approved for such an initiative.
Approved funds. That points to a process.
Right, definitely. It implies a formal process that either hasn't happened or hasn't been completed successfully. This removes the personal responsibility for the lack of funds and points squarely to a procedural barrier, maybe a bureaucratic reality that's out of your hands.
That's a very clear and defensible reason for declining, especially when dealing with requests that need that formal budget sign-off.
Absolutely. And for something that goes beyond a specific budgeted line item, the requested expenditure exceeds what we have currently earmarked for marketing, let's say.
Earmarked. So that means money set aside specifically.
Yes, exactly. Earmarked indicates specific funds that have been set aside for a particular purpose, like a marketing campaign budget. This phrase is used when a request goes over that specific departmental or project budget. It signals a clear boundary that can't be crossed without significant reevaluation or finding funds from elsewhere.
So it's not just a general no money, it's a no, because we have a very specific pot of money allocated for this, and your request is bigger than that pot. Very clear.
Very clear. And finally, one that offers a path to compromise, focusing on the budget issue. Could we explore lower-cost software alternatives that fit within our current budget parameters?
Offering a solution again.
Yes. It offers a collaborative solution by looking for cheaper options. It shows you're willing to find a way forward, even if the original specific request is unfeasible financially. It focuses on solutions within the existing financial constraints.
That feels like a win-win. You're saying no to the specific high costs, but yes to finding a solution that works. It's problem solving, not just gatekeeping the funds.
Exactly. Maintains goodwill.
Okay. So sometimes, though, it's not about your personal capacity or even the budget. It's about the entire team's workload, right?
Right.
Or maybe even their well-being.
Absolutely.
How do you decline a request on behalf of your team without sounding like you're just, shirking responsibility or complaining about how busy everyone is?
That's a really important one for managers and team leads. It's about protecting your team's focus, their productivity, and frankly, their morale.
Right.
These phrases convey that your refusal isn't just saying no to more work, but it's actually a strategic decision, a decision made to ensure the team's overall success and prevent burnout.
Okay. So it shows responsible leadership.
Yes, and a commitment to sustainable output, not just burning people out.
Got it. So let's start with maybe a general team capacity statement.
Okay, simple and clear. My engineering team is at full capacity this month. Using the team name makes it specific.
Right. Broadens that full capacity idea we discussed earlier to the whole team.
Exactly. It's a clear, objective statement that the entire team is maxed out and simply cannot take on more work in this specific period, say this month or this quarter. It communicates a collective reality, not just your personal situation.
So it's not just I'm busy, it's we as a unit are busy. Very direct, very team focused.
And if that busyness is actually threatening existing commitments, you could be more specific. Adding this new client project would overburden the team and risk current deadlines for Project Titan, for example.
Ooh, connecting it to specific negative consequences.
Yes, this clearly articulates the potential negative outcomes. Overburden, which implies stress, reduced quality, inefficiency, and risk current deadlines, which impacts existing, potentially critical projects like Project Titan. It presents a very tangible downside to accepting the new request.
Yeah, that's highlighting a critical trade-off. You're effectively saying, look, if we say yes to this new thing, we're implicitly saying no or risking failure on something else that's already vital. Very effective.
It makes the choice clear for the person asking.
Mm-hmm.
And for a more empathetic approach, focusing on team health, which is increasingly important,
Yeah, definitely.
we'd say, I must consider the team's overall well-being and prevent collective burnout by saying no now.
Wow. That's quite direct about well-being.
It is, and sometimes necessary. It highlights the human element, focusing squarely on preventing burnout and maintaining team morale. This is a very empathetic and I'd argue very responsible reason to decline. It prioritizes the team's long-term health and sustainability over maybe just short-term gains or accommodating one more request.
That's powerful. It really shows you're a leader who cares about their people, not just the output figures. It's a no that could actually foster trust and loyalty in the long run.
I believe so. And sometimes you need to protect your team from that constant reactive cycle, right?
Okay.
The endless urgent tasks.
Oh, yeah. That kills productivity.
It does. So you might say, I'm committed to sustainable work pacing for my creative team, so I can't accept this urgent task. Mentioning the team type adds context.
Okay. Sustainable work pacing. I like that phrase.
It highlights a commitment to a healthy, consistent work pace. It explicitly rejects unsustainable, urgent demands that often lead to burnout and lower quality work eventually. It sets a boundary against constantly reacting to emergencies, which helps foster better planning and long-term productivity.
So it's about breaking that cycle of constant firefighting and prioritizing quality work and mental health. That's a no. That definitely pays dividends later.
Absolutely. And finally, one that gracefully redirects the request, aiming for the best outcome overall. Could this research request be handled by another department, or perhaps another team with more available bandwidth right now?
Helpful redirection.
Right. It offers a potential solution by suggesting an alternative team that might be better suited, maybe skill-wise, or perhaps just less busy at the moment. It shows you're willing to help find a solution, even if your own team can't take it on directly.
Without overcommitting your already stretched team.
Exactly. It's a classic, right? It's not really for us, but I know someone who might be perfect.
Yeah.
It demonstrates helpfulness even while declining the direct ask.
Great stuff. Okay, moving on. Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Sometimes a no isn't about your capacity or your expertise or even the team's bandwidth. It's about the rules.
Ah, yes. Policy, compliance, ethics.
Exactly. It's about company policy, legal compliance, maybe ethical guidelines. And this kind of no, it really takes the personal aspect out of the decline, doesn't it? It makes it about a non-negotiable standard, something that protects not just you, but the entire organization, from legal risks, financial trouble, reputational damage.
Absolutely. When a request bumps up against organizational rules, legal requirements, or just established procedures, a no becomes a necessary safeguard.
Right.
These phrases clearly articulate that the refusal is due to external mandates, like laws, or internal mandates, like company policy. It's not a personal preference.
It's about maintaining integrity and avoiding potential liabilities. It's simply, look, this is the way we operate here.
Precisely. Non-negotiable.
Okay, so let's look at some phrases for policy, compliance, and those ethical guidelines, starting with maybe a very clear objective policy violation.
How about this? This hiring practice goes against company HR policy.
Direct, firm, can't argue with policy.
Pretty much. It states that the proposed action directly contravenes established HR rules. Leaves very little room for debate about personal discretion. It's not your opinion, it's company law, effectively.
No ambiguity there. A clear professional boundary based on the rule book.
Or for financial rules, something like, I'm afraid that expense claim is not compliant with our travel guidelines.
Okay, compliant and guidelines. Clear terms.
Yes, clear terms for rule adherence. It explicitly states that the financial request doesn't meet the established internal standards. It frames it as a procedural issue, not a judgment on the expense itself.
It's all about playing by the rules when it comes to money, right? This one leaves no wiggle room.
Correct. Now, when it comes to external regulations, mentioning the specific regulation can be very powerful.
Like GDPR.
Exactly. For example, due to new GDPR regulatory requirements, we cannot proceed with this data request. Using a specific example like GDPR immediately shows external legal constraints. It shifts the reason for the decline from an internal choice to an unavoidable external legal obligation.
Which is pretty much non-negotiable.
Absolutely. That immediately shuts down most arguments. You're not saying no, the law is saying no.
Makes sense. And related to that, security and trust are obviously huge.
Paramount. So you might say, this data sharing would breach our client data security protocols, so I must decline.
Breach and protocols, strong words.
They are. They emphasize security and trust. This phrase conveys that the request would compromise confidential information, which is a major risk, and a professional red line you're obligated to uphold. Protecting client data is fundamental.
It's a very strong protective no that signals you're prioritizing the security and trust placed in you by your clients. No one can really argue with that principle.
It's hard to argue against. And finally, a powerful phrase for broader ethical considerations beyond just legality or policy. Our code of conduct has specific anti-bribery clauses that restrict this kind of activity.
Ah, referencing the code of conduct.
Yes. This refers directly to ethical guidelines and core company values as the reason for refusal. It positions the decline as upholding the organization's moral and ethical standing.
Which is fundamental to its reputation and integrity.
Exactly. So it's not just about what's strictly legal, but what's considered right according to the company's stated values. That's a no that reinforces the very fabric of the organization's culture.
Very important. Okay, let's shift gears again. Let's talk about scope creep and formal change requests. Scope creep. The bane of every project manager's existence.
Chuckles, isn't it just?
It's that sneaky expansion of a project, isn't it? Stuff that wasn't in the original plan, and it can just derail everything. Timelines, budgets, quality.
Completely. It's insidious.
So how do we say no to that elegantly without seeming like we're just resisting new ideas?
Yeah, that's the balance.
Yeah.
This set of phrases is really crucial for maintaining project integrity and preventing that quiet drain on resources.
Okay.
They work by explicitly naming the issue scope creep, often insisting on following a proper process and highlighting the potential negative impacts on timelines and budgets if we don't.
So it's about enforcing those agreed-upon boundaries, which is essential for successful project delivery, right?
Absolutely essential. So, kicking it off, a simple flag. This new feature seems beyond the original project scope.
Okay. Beyond the original scope, clear indicator.
Right. It signals that this new idea wasn't part of the initial plan, the blueprint we all agreed on, and therefore it needs separate consideration or maybe a formal change process. It's a gentle flag, just saying, hey, wait a minute, this wasn't in the blueprint.
Simple, direct, no beating around the bush.
And if you need to be clear about the impact of that scope creep, you could say, I'm concerned this new interface change might impact our development timeline and existing budget.
Connecting it directly to time and money.
Yes. This highlights the impact of the scope creep on those two critical project elements. It signals that the new request isn't free. It has clear resource implications that need to be properly addressed before just jumping in.
That's a great way to put the consequences right out there. Makes it less about you resisting the idea and more about you protecting the project's overall health.
Exactly. Or you can explicitly name the issue and force a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
This additional reporting request would constitute scope creep, which we should discuss first.
Actually using the term scope creep.
Yes. This explicitly names it, and scope creep is a pretty universally understood term in business for those incremental additions to workload that happen without a formal process.
Right.
And crucially, it insists on a discussion first before proceeding to manage expectations and agree on how to handle it. Maybe it becomes phase 2, maybe it needs more budget, etc.
Yeah, naming it directly can be powerful. It flags the issue for anyone familiar with project management and immediately pushes for that proper conversation.
And when dealing with new features that maybe don't align with the core documentation that started the project?
Like the project charter or the statement of work.
Exactly. You might say, let's review the original project charter and sell W before adding new marketing features like this.
Appealing to the official documents.
Right. This refers back to the official project documentation, the charter, the statement of work, SOW, as the agreed basis for the scope definition. It grounds the discussion in established, signed-off agreements.
Makes it less about your personal resistance and more about adhering to the shared plan everyone agreed to initially.
Precisely. It's like, remember that thing we all agreed to at the start? Let's just check that first before we add more. Very clever, very professional.
And finally, when a formal process is absolutely necessary, maybe with clients or stakeholders who keep adding things?
Right. You need to set that boundary firmly. We need a formal change request process if we're to add items beyond the agreed statement of work.
Insisting on the formal procedure.
Yes. This insists on formal procedures for any scope changes. It's particularly useful, as you say, when dealing with clients or stakeholders who frequently request additions ad hoc. It sets a clear professional boundary and ensures that any changes are properly documented, assessed for impact, and officially approved.
That feels like the ultimate boundary setter, doesn't it? It basically says, sure, we can potentially do this, but we're doing it by the book. No more informal, off-the-cuff additions.
Exactly. It brings structure and control back to the process.
Excellent. Okay, one more category here before we get to the softer no's. What about saying no, simply because you don't have enough data or information to make an informed decision?
Yes, the I can't say yes because I don't know enough situation.
Right. This isn't really a firm refusal of the request itself, is it? It's more like a pause. It indicates a crucial barrier to being able to say yes responsibly.
Exactly. It's about protecting yourself and the organization from making decisions effectively in the dark. This category of no is really about asserting the need for sufficient information to ensure quality decision-making.
So you're not saying no to the request necessarily, but you're saying no to proceeding without proper justification or context.
Precisely. It protects against speculative or uninformed actions. It ensures that your contributions, your decisions, your actions are always grounded in fact and evidence as much as possible.
Makes sense. So let's start with a basic but powerful one here.
How about, I lack the sales data needed for this Q3 forecast.
Very specific, identifies the missing piece.
Right. It clearly states that a crucial decision, like a forecast, relies on specific data that you currently don't have, making it impossible, or at least irresponsible, to proceed. It's very direct, highlighting the absence of that critical component.
No data, no decision. Simple as that. It's a logical wall they've hit.
Pretty much. For broader strategic moves, maybe launching a new product, you might need more than just one data point. More comprehensive market data is needed before a new product decision can be made.
Okay, emphasizing the need for thorough analysis.
Right. Before making significant, potentially expensive decisions like a product launch. It protects against launching products into an unknown or inadequately researched market, which is, unfortunately, a common pitfall.
It's essentially saying, let's not just throw spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks. Let's make sure we're actually aiming for something real.
Good analogy. And when dealing with financial commitments, you have to be extra careful, obviously.
Yeah.
So you might say, I cannot act on this investment without further financial details or supporting evidence.
Requires more specifics before committing money.
Exactly. It's a necessary safeguard against making ill-informed investment decisions based on insufficient or maybe unverified information. Due diligence is absolutely key here.
So you're not saying no to the investment opportunity itself. You're just saying no to a blind investment. Very responsible.
Very. And sometimes the information you have received is just plain inadequate, as you
Okay.
could say. The current customer information provided is inadequate for me to take this campaign forward.
States clearly the data isn't good enough.
Right. It states the supply data is insufficient for you to take effective action. This is crucial for things like marketing or sales campaigns that require specific, robust customer profiles for effective targeting and ultimately a successful outreach. Garbage in, garbage out. Right.
Exactly. So it's not that you can't do the campaign, it's that you can't do it well with the poor information you've been given. It protects the quality of your work and avoids wasting resources.
Precisely. And finally, one that cleverly shifts some responsibility for getting the data. Is there a way we can obtain the necessary historical sales data to support this market request adequately?
Turning it into a collaborative question.
Yes. It offers a collaborative approach to acquiring that missing data. It shows you're willing to work together to overcome the information barrier. Especially useful when historical trends are crucial for making a solid market decision. It turns a potential roadblock into a shared task.
That's a good one because it's not just a no, I don't have it, but more like, okay, how can we get what we need to potentially make this a yes? It keeps that problem-solving mindset alive.
Exactly. It keeps the door open for progress.
Okay, this is great. We've covered the no's based on capacity, expertise, resources, policy, lack of data. But not all no's are hard stops, are they?
No, not at all. This raises that important question again. How can we say no in a way that's actually helpful and constructive?
Right.
Not all no's have to be outright rejections. Many are more nuanced. They're about redirection, maybe negotiation, or sometimes just buying yourself time to make a properly informed decision.
So this is where active problem solving comes in, turning a potential rejection into more of a collaborative step forward.
Exactly. It helps maintain goodwill, and often it actually leads to better outcomes for everyone involved because you're refining their request or the approach.
It's about opening a dialogue, not just closing a door. These soft no's, they demonstrate a willingness to engage, but maybe with necessary conditions or clarifications first.
Right. It shows you're not just dismissing a request out of hand, but you're actively trying to find the best path forward, which frankly often makes you look even more capable and considerate.
Okay, so let's explore some phrases for just requesting more information or clarification before deciding. This effectively buys you time, right?
Yeah.
To assess properly.
Yes, it buys time and ensures clarity. Starting with a very simple one. I need more details on the client first.
Basic, direct.
It is a simple, direct request for context. It signals that fundamental background information is missing, which is essential for you to properly assess the request and respond appropriately. It's just a fundamental step in good communication.
So, not a refusal, just a, hold on, I need more info before I can give you a proper answer. Smart.
Or for something a bit more complex, maybe a project,
Yeah.
I'll need a bit more context on the project before I can commit.
Okay, needing the bigger picture.
Right. This emphasizes needing a broader understanding of the project's background, its goals, maybe its current status. It's really useful when you're asked to join a new project and you need that bigger picture to contribute effectively and, importantly, avoid making missteps early on.
Yeah, you're protecting yourself from diving into something without fully grasping it, which is actually a proactive way to avoid future problems down the line.
Definitely. And for ensuring strategic alignment, which we talked about. Before I can give a definitive answer, I need to understand the project's objectives.
Focusing on the why.
Exactly. This emphasizes understanding the why behind the task before committing your time or resources. Ensuring you're aligned with the core goals is fundamental to making an effective contribution. Otherwise, you could end up working hard on the wrong things.
Yeah, it's the difference between just doing tasks and doing meaningful work that contributes to the goal. You're trying to make sure your effort is well directed.
Right. Yeah, sometimes getting that clarity requires more than just an email.
A meeting.
Could be. You could suggest, perhaps we could schedule a brief meeting to discuss the technical requirements in detail.
Okay, proposing a conversation.
Yes, it suggests a face-to-face or virtual face-to-face discussion to iron out complexities. Especially for complex technical details that are just hard to convey accurately in writing, a short conversation can be far more efficient and prevent costly misunderstandings.
It's like saying, look, let's not email back and forth for 3 days about this. A quick 15-minute chat will probably sort it. Very practical.
Very. And finally, for managing your own workload when new requests come in, it would be helpful to know the priority of this task relative to other current tasks.
Ah, asking about priority.
Yes. This asks for clarification on its urgency compared to your other existing work. For managing multiple requests effectively, understanding the comparative priority is absolutely key to good time management and to ensuring you're working on the most impactful items first.
And that's also you gently pushing the prioritization question back to the requester, or maybe to your manager, isn't it? Asking them to help you decide what might need to be dropped if this new thing comes in. That's good boundary setting.
It is. It forces a conscious decision about priorities.
Okay, so requesting more info is one type of soft no. What about actively suggesting alternatives or compromises? This is where you say no to the specific request, but maybe yes to finding a solution.
Precisely. These phrases allow you to pivot gracefully from a direct refusal into a collaborative problem-solving mode.
Okay.
It shows you're not just dismissing their need or their request, but you're actively trying to find a viable path forward. Demonstrates flexibility, helpful attitude.
So instead of just a flat no, you might offer a different approach, like how about trying a cloud-based solution instead?
Exactly. That offers a specific alternative approach. It's useful when the solution they proposed is problematic. For some reason, maybe it's too expensive, too complex, not secure enough, and you have a better, more feasible option in mind. You're not just rejecting, you're innovating, offering a different path.
Or if it's about who should do it, not what should be done. Perhaps Sarah Miller from marketing could assist with this.
Yes, suggesting a specific colleague. It's effective when you genuinely know someone else is a better fit, maybe has the right skills, or, importantly, more capacity. It leverages the organization's resources effectively and ensures the task still gets done by the right person, even if it's not you.
That feels like a real value add, connecting people to the right resources, even when you're saying no yourself.
It is. Now, for larger commitments, like maybe an all-day workshop or event, you can offer partial participation. While I can't attend the full day, I could possibly join the morning session.
Okay, offering a compromise.
Right. It offers partial participation. It's perfect for those events or long meetings where full attendance isn't possible for you, but you still want to contribute, or at least be present for the key segments.
It's like saying, look, I can't give you 100% of my day, but I can give you the most impactful 30%, or the part that's most relevant. Very strategic use of time.
Very. And if the core issue preventing a yes is the deadline, you can try negotiating that. If the report deadline is flexible, I might be able to tackle it later on next week.
Proposing a revised timeline, but making it conditional on their flexibility.
Exactly. It's excellent when the deadline is the main sticking point, and you know that a slight adjustment could realistically turn your no into a yes.
That's a key negotiation point, isn't it? You're implicitly asking how truly important is this specific deadline versus the actual completion of the task.
Precisely. Forces them to think about what matters more. And finally, for those really big, daunting projects, you could suggest breaking it down. If you're open to suggestions, perhaps phasing the software project could work for the team.
Suggesting a phased approach, like eating the elephant one bite at a time.
Chuckles, exactly like that. It suggests a phased approach for large projects. It breaks down what might feel like an overwhelming request into more manageable chunks. This makes it more feasible for the team to take on over time, and often improves the likelihood of success because you can learn and adapt between phases.
So it's not, no, we can't possibly do this massive thing, but more like, no, we can't do it all at once, but maybe we can do it piece by piece. That's just smart project management, really.
It absolutely is.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. But sometimes, after all the considerations, all the alternative, all the clarifications, you just have to give a direct, unequivocal no.
Right.
Yes.
Sometimes that's the only appropriate answer.
You just have to draw that clear line in the sand, but the key is you can still do it with grace and respect. So this final section is about maintaining politeness while being absolutely clear and firm.
Precisely. This is about maintaining your boundaries firmly, but without causing unnecessary offense. These phrases are for those situations when a clear, unequivocal refusal is the only appropriate response.
Ensuring you protect your time, your focus, maybe your values.
Right. While still respecting the relationship and your professional standing. It's about projecting confidence in your decision, not apology for it.
Okay, so let's dive into phrases for just general polite declines, maybe for tasks or projects, starting with something straightforward.
How about, I must decline taking on this project this time.
Okay. Must decline. Sounds firm.
It is. It's a straightforward, definitive refusal. But notice the addition of this time.
Yeah, that softens it slightly.
It subtly leaves a small opening for the future. It suggests the circumstances might change down the road, but for right now, the answer is clearly no. It maintains politeness while being unequivocally clear.
So it's firm, but not necessarily a permanent door slam. Okay. How about something a bit gentler, but still firm?
You could use, I'm sorry, but that particular request won't be possible for me to handle.
Using I'm sorry to cushion it.
Yes, I'm sorry softens the blow, but it's immediately followed by a clear statement of impossibility won't be possible for me to handle. It's a direct but gentle refusal, emphasizing that it's simply not within your current capacity or ability to do it.
Yeah, that's a classic for a reason. Empathetic opening, but a clear no.
Now, if you want to convey that you've really thought about it before saying no,
Yeah, that can be important.
you could say, after careful consideration of my schedule, I've determined I cannot take this new task on.
Highlighting the careful consideration.
Exactly. It highlights thoughtful deliberation before the refusal. It conveys that the decision wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction, but a considered choice based on reviewing your commitments. That lends it more weight and professionalism.
Makes it harder for someone to argue with your decision, perhaps. That one screams, look, I really did think about this, and this is my firm conclusion.
Right. Now, for declining significant opportunities, maybe a leadership role or a prestigious project, it's really important to express gratitude first.
Okay.
So something like, thank you for the leadership opportunity, but I must respectfully turn it down at this moment.
Expresses gratitude, then politely declines.
Yes. It's important to acknowledge the honor or significance of the offer, even when you cannot accept it. This helps preserve goodwill and shows respect for the person offering it. The at this moment also adds that touch of potential future possibility, perhaps.
Yeah, it acknowledges the value of the offer while being very clear about your current inability to take it on. Good balance.
And sometimes the reason for declining is genuinely personal, but you can still phrase it professionally.
Right, you don't want to overshare, but sometimes context helps.
Exactly. You can say, I wish I could assist with the conference, but I must decline due to other pressing family matters.
Okay, gives a reason, but keeps it general.
Right. It gives a personal but still professional-sounding reason for declining. It provides context without going into unnecessary detail, which is often appreciated as it shows you're a human being with a life outside of work, but maintains boundaries.
It's honest, but still keeps that professional boundary firmly intact.
Yeah.
Okay, that covers general task project declines. What about the everyday stuff, declining invitations and meetings? We all get loads of those. Oh, absolutely. These are daily occurrences for many of us, right? So you need quick, polite, almost reflexive ways to say no to those.
Yeah.
These phrases focus on brevity and clarity, especially for social invites or less formal business meetings. They're about politely stating your unavailability without needing a long, drawn-out explanation, and often they leave room for future engagement.
The key is being respectful of the invitation while being firm about your schedule.
Exactly. So for quick declines, you can just go with the basics. Sorry, I can't make it to the dinner, or perhaps I won't be able to attend the conference call.
Simple, direct, gets the job done without over-explaining.
Deficient.
Very. For maybe a team social event, adding appreciation is always nice. Thank you for the team lunch invitation, but I'm unavailable. Simple.
Yeah.
And if you have a clear, specific conflict, a straightforward, I have a prior client commitment at that time, unfortunately, is universally understood in business. Client comes first.
Right. That's a reason most people won't argue with. What about more formal meetings or important sessions?
You might step it up slightly. Regrettably, I will have to miss this strategy session due to a schedule conflict. Regrettably adds a touch of formality.
Okay.
Or for something like a webinar invite. I appreciate the invite to the webinar, but my schedule is already packed on that day. Polite.
Sure.
Explains the busyness without needing specifics.
And if you do want to leave the door open for rescheduling a meeting,
Ah, good point. You could try. Unfortunately, that timing for the meeting doesn't work for me. Perhaps another time.
Direct about the timing issue, but explicitly asks about alternatives.
Right. It opens the door for rescheduling, showing you're willing to engage if the conditions, namely the time, change.
Okay. And for bigger asks, like maybe a speaking invitation you mentioned?
Yes, you'd want to be respectful of the honor. I'm honored by the speaking invitation, but I must decline due to existing obligations. You're showing respect for the offer while stating non-negotiable prior commitments.
Good one. And is there a classic way to decline but invite future contact?
Yes, definitely. Something like, I received your meeting invitation. Sadly, I won't be able to make it. Keep me in mind for the next one.
Acknowledges receipt, expresses regret, asks to be kept in the loop.
Exactly. It acknowledges you got it, expresses polite regret, and offers a clear path for future invitations, maintaining that valuable professional connection.
Yeah, it's all about being unavailable for this specific thing without being ungracious or seeming uninterested overall. Very effective.
Precisely.
Okay, lastly then, let's talk about those phrases for drawing a really firm line and protecting your boundaries based specifically on your priorities.
Yes, this is crucial.
This is crucial for maintaining focus and accountability to your core responsibilities, isn't it? It's not about not wanting to do something necessarily, but about recognizing that other things already on your list are simply more important right now.
Absolutely. These phrases are all about clearly communicating your strategic priorities, making it explicit that your no isn't just arbitrary. It's based on a predefined strategy or a pre-agreed list of tasks. They demonstrate that you are organized, you're accountable for your existing commitments, and they often allow you to gracefully shift the burden of prioritization back to the requester, or maybe to the organizational system itself.
Okay, so for a quick and clear priority statement, maybe for a lower level task.
You could just say, this data entry isn't top priority right now.
Direct. States it's low priority.
Right, states it's low priority without judgment. It's simple, immediate, and effective in managing expectations about when, or maybe even if, it will get done soon.
Or for something more critical that's blocking it.
You might say, I must focus on other urgent client items first. This highlights a non-negotiable, higher priority, the client. It clearly communicates that client-facing work takes precedence, which is a universally understood business imperative.
Can't argue with focusing on the client. And a broader statement about your current focus.
You could use, my current work priorities lie elsewhere at the moment. This broadly indicates that your focus is simply on other, more pressing tasks. Tasks that have already been established as your key responsibilities for this period.
It's a polite way to say your plate is full, but also that the items already on it are ranked higher. My energy and attention are already allocated to what's been identified as most important.
Exactly. Now, when a new task maybe conflicts with your formally agreed-upon goals, like in project management.
Right, like sprint goals.
Precisely. You could say, this new feature task, while important, doesn't align with my immediate sprint objectives. This uses that agile terminology to explain the misalignment with current time-bound goals. It's very specific to certain project methodologies, but it signals a planned workflow that shouldn't ideally be disrupted mid-sprint.
Yeah, this one makes it clear that you're adhering to a predefined, probably team-based work plan. It's not just your personal choice holding it back.
Correct. And if you need help from the requester in actually figuring out the priority.
Putting it back on them.
Yes. You could ask, before I can slot this research in, could you help me understand its priority relative to the client proposal and the system update? Naming specific existing priorities.
Okay, asking for help prioritizing the new task against existing named priorities.
Yes, it shifts the burden of prioritization back to the requester. It forces a strategic discussion about what truly matters most right now. They have to justify bumping something else if they want this done immediately.
That's a genius move, really. You're inviting collaboration on prioritization, but the implied no is loud and clear unless they can make a strong case for moving it up the list.
It clarifies things quickly. And finally, a powerful statement for declining maybe new ideas or side projects that just don't fit the bigger picture right now.
Yeah.
While I see the value in this idea, it's not aligned with the strategic priorities set for this quarter.
Acknowledges the idea's merit first.
Yes, which is important. But then it cites a lack of alignment with broader established strategic goals. It positions your refusal not as a dismissal of the idea itself, but as a strategic decision based on the current focus. It protects your team's collective focus and resources for what's already been agreed as most important.
So it's a no, that shows you're thinking big picture, about the overall strategy, not just about your immediate to-do list. That can actually elevate your professional standing, showing you're strategically minded.
It definitely can. It shows you're focused on the right things.
Okay. Wow, so we've really taken a deep dive, haven't we, into the surprisingly rich and nuanced language of saying no in business.
It's more complex than people think.
It really is. From the simple, my plate is full, to the more complex, it falls outside my expertise. And all those subtle ways to manage expectations and set boundaries, you really should now have a pretty comprehensive toolkit.
Hopefully, yes.
And remember, saying no professionally, it isn't a sign of weakness, is it? It's actually a powerful signal of good management, strategic focus, and, fundamentally, a deep commitment to quality and effective delivery.
Absolutely. If we connect this back to the bigger picture, mastering these phrases, getting comfortable with them, it allows you to be far more intentional with your yeses.
Ah, right. Making your yes mean more.
Exactly. Which leads to higher quality work, it helps prevent burnout, and ultimately it boosts your overall productivity and impact. It's really about respect. Respect for your own boundaries and respect for the work itself.
It empowers you to protect your focus, contribute where you can make the most meaningful impact.
Yes, benefiting both yourself and your organization in the long run. It's a win-win when done right.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. A final thought for everyone listening. Think about it. Every no you say, especially to something that doesn't truly serve your highest priorities, is actually a profound yes to something else, something more important.
Creating space.
Exactly. It's not just about what you decline, but what you actively choose to prioritize and pour your valuable energy into. So, the question to ponder is, what yes are you creating for yourself, maybe for your team, or for your most important projects, with your next polite, strategic, and well-chosen no?
That's a great way to frame it, and it raises one last important question for reflection. In a world that seems to be constantly demanding more and more of our attention, our time, our energy, how might a well-placed strategic no actually be the single most productive thing you do all week?